Hi, this is Ollie. Welcome to the Crafty Whisk. It's a cooking demo today, so something a little bit different. I am making my Swiss Meringue Buttercream, which is my buttercream of choice. It contains much less sugar than American buttercream or the normal buttercream everyone's used to. And this is pillowy and soft and just yummy. And there's no grit. It is the smoothest buttercream that I've ever had. Italian meringue buttercream is very similar as well. So over a pot of simmering water, I have my egg whites and normal granulated white sugar in the bowl. I'm using carton egg white, so it's 300 grams and 450 grams of sugar. Now, before you start, you must make sure that your whisks and your bowl for your mixer is completely clean and grease free. I normally put some vinegar on a paper towel and wipe everything down. If you don't do this, the meringue will not whip up. Now, I'm using carton egg whites. As I said, these are available in the fridge section of your supermarket. They do take longer to whip up than fresh egg whites, but I find it easier, so I'm not wasting a lot of egg yolk. So you will mix it over the stovetop. It takes about 5 minutes for the sugar to completely dissolve, and it needs to reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit or 72 degrees Celsius for the eggs to become safe for pregnant women to eat. So once the sugar is dissolved, you can either use a thermometer or, like I did, the finger test. You put it onto your stand mixer and you need to slowly build up the speed until you're going at top speed for about 10 minutes or so. Then I put in my icing sugar, which I use as a stabilizer, and it's about 3/4 of a cup. And then I continue to beat for about 15 minutes in total, or until you reach very stiff peaks, like here. Now, if you're using fresh egg whites, the peaks will become even stiffer. But this is fine for the buttercream to have stiff peaks at this stage. Don't be alarmed that it actually takes so long to beat up. This is not a quick buttercream, but it is delicious. So once I've achieved stiff peaks, I swap out my whisk for my paddle attachment, and I can now add in the butter and shortening. The butter needs to be room temperature, and it's 550 grams of unsalted butter and 130 grams of vegetable shortening, which is available at any cake store, any cake supply store. You can use salted butter as well, but it can't be the full amount of the butter. I normally do only about 100 grams of salted butter, and that eliminates me having to actually put in a pinch of salt somewhere down the track. Now, the butter does need to be room temperature, so not too soft, but not firm. And there's a reason for this. It actually takes longer to beat if your butter is cold, and you get a much more curdled effect. I'll show you the curdling in a moment. Swiss Meringue Buttercream always goes through a curdled stage. Don't get alarmed. It has to go through that to emulsify the fat into the sugar. So I just pop my butter pieces in one by one, or just gradually. And I have my mixer on the lowest speed, which I think is number 2 on my KitchenAid. So I'm trying to show you the curdled stage. It didn't actually go through a true curdled stage this time, for once, but it looked like lumpy and like sour milk kind of lumpiness. It's not attractive. It kind of went through a little bit more of a curdle here. It does it at about the 5-minute mark of mixing. This needs to be mixed for about 20 minutes. And it will suddenly change from curdled to luxuriously soft and yummy. This is when I add in my flavouring. If you're using vanilla, it's a tablespoon plus a teaspoon of clear vanilla extract. It must be clear, otherwise your buttercream will change colour. You can also add in here chocolate paste or any other flavouring you prefer, but you must add it gradually if you're doing something other than vanilla, because you don't want it to be overpowering. So you need to sort of like taste it after it's sort of being beaten a little bit. The chocolate paste you can also get from cake supply stores, and that does make a truly delicious buttercream. I have also mixed in a little bit of ganache on occasion to make it into a chocolate buttercream, and that's also really, really good. But I find the chocolate paste is much easier because you can control how much flavour you're actually putting in. So I just continue to mix until the flavouring has emulsified all the way through. So like I said, about 20 minutes in total. You can go longer. The longer you go, the whiter your buttercream will get. This buttercream will have a yellowish tinge because of the butter. That doesn't worry me, but you can add a tiny speck of purple food colouring, and I mean tiny, like toothpick head tiny, to try and counteract the yellowness. One thing I must mention too, this is not a crusting buttercream. It will remain soft and pliable. It is absolutely delicious. I find it the best tasting buttercream I've ever had. It will have a slight buttery taste like all buttercreams because it has a base of butter. But look at that, just gorgeousness in a bowl. Thank you for joining me. Please click subscribe and like. Thank you. See you next time.